Hello, my friend. It's Dan McDonald here. It's very early in the morning, and I just finished meditating. So I'm going to make an audio since I don't have any light right now, but I really wanted to make a video saying thank you. I was gone off the social media for a couple months, diving deep, doing the work so that I can be a better teacher. That's the way I see it. I know not everyone sees it that way. And then I come back and it's like, oh, you only come back when you want to make money. And, what can I say? There is some truth to that. This is my job, my secondary job. This is how I make money on the YouTube. My job is something entirely different. My job is to be and do whatever I have to do to care for myself, nurture myself, develop myself into the best human being that I can be. And so when I'm not on the social media regularly, please be assured that I am working diligently on myself on many levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Most of all, most importantly, spiritual development and the solitude and the silence and the freedom away from the the beehive mind of social media, like a deer in the headlights, is very beneficial for me, especially at this time in my life. I'm not going to say I paid all my dues or anything like that. And I really do. This is the thing. This is what I wanted to say. Well, let me start off first of all by saying this is what inspired this was the response to the sale of the new product, Thriving in a Dying World. The sale is going amazing. And so I wanted to just really thank you for understanding, like for not, it's not like, because in the internet thing, you have this thing where you build equity, you give a lot of free stuff, and then you come up and maybe 10 or at max 20% of the time you pitch your products or whatever. Well, I've become like a pitching machine. And there's a reason for that. It is because I feel strongly about developing myself outside of the hubbub of social media, which is getting progressively more and more, you know, dualistic, dichotomous, and kind of inflammatory. And it's like I need to be in an anti-inflammatory environment in order for this being to become still. And so I feel very loved and appreciated by you because so many of you just jumped on that, got the new program, watched it, and you've already started sending me emails and feedback, which I'm going to use to create the next product. Because right now, let me just be honest with you, as some of us have been together for like almost 11 years now, you know, we're tight. And, I just really appreciate your support because it's a real world for me. It's like I am here paying rent and basically that's it. There's all these guys on the internet that like get a boat, get houses, get cars, get girls, get famous, get followers, Use the law of attraction to manifest anything you want. Or you can take the other route, which is to simplify the heck out of your life so that you can enjoy the treasure that you already are. The more stuff you get, And I'm not saying stuff is bad, stuff is cool, but the more stuff you get, the more insurance policies you have to have, the more things you need to polish, manage. What ends up happening in this world, especially with all the red tape, is your car and your house and your Instagram and your fame and your muscles and your money and your relationships, they begin to own you. And I'm not saying that the way I see it or the way I live is the right way, but all I can say is from experience. The less that I have to manage, the more I can manage this one. And that's really what I love. I just got done meditating. I prayed for about an hour and a half this morning. I woke up about 2 o'clock, this morning. And I just laid there for an hour and a half and prayed. And then I came out here and I meditate for an hour. And my heart was all bunged up. But as I sat here and did the mantras, which come spontaneously, this morning it started out as be still and know that I am God. And then this other mantra that's been coming in has been, emotion or physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual illumination. And these things just sort of repeat themselves via the field in my mind. And then at the end of this meditation, where my heart was all clogged up because I haven't had the words to speak to you, Words aren't working so well to express the truth as I'm beginning to know it. It's like, believe it or not, Dan McDonald is listening more to people than he's talking, which is a miracle. I have less of a need to be heard, less of a need to be validated by anyone. I'm not saying it's not there, but I'm just saying that I'm looking to the true source, the deepest, truest, infinite source inside myself for my validation, because that comes from my relationship with my mother and my father, which, they couldn't give what they didn't have. And I'm 45 years young, and I'm learning to get that from myself. So interestingly enough, it's kind of like nature has become my mother. I just love birds and water and dirt and sand and the sounds and the rain and mud. And so nature has become my nurturing mother, which I've always needed. And then, God, as I like to call it, whatever you want to call it, please fill it in there. I have respect for your beliefs. Jehovah, Brahman, the names are innumerable, and yet they don't quite explain the glory of it, But I look to the Most High, the Most Divine, the Absolute, for my father figure to guide me, to get, to remove all of the conditioning so that greatness, that infiniteness can speak and work through and live in this body temple, and saturate this mind and this heart with its divine essence. I mean, I make it sound all fancy, but believe me, Dan McDonald, as a dude on earth, is still, the mud is still settling, if you will. But just because there's mud over the jewel doesn't mean the jewel's not there, and doesn't mean that the jewel is not just as valuable. And one day, somehow, through all the beautiful ups and downs of life, the pleasant and the unpleasant, the mud one day will wash away. The mud in the water will settle, and the water will become clean, and you will be purified, because it's that stillness. So I've been gone to create stillness, because the social media, it's a frequency trip, and it gets into your being, and when you're off of it, you can really work consciously on settling the mud. Although it's beautiful to see the mud stirred up by what's still there and what needs to be worked on by engaging in the social media. So it's back and forth. And this is a very practical thing to me. It's kind of like, Dan McDonald, this is your job. And I've always had a job ever since I was 8 years old. And so I struggle with that because I want this to be an art. I wish this could be 100% total service. But the reality is that it's just really important. I really want to keep this little apartment. And I don't have much else. I own my truck. So it's just gas and food, the basic stuff. And I'm just doing that, and I'm blessed, and you have been a blessing to me. That's all I'm saying. And thank you for such a warm reception back, to social media. And I'm going to do a video marathon this week, just to promote Thriving in a Dying World. Just for those of you who don't have it or haven't gotten it, it's a 3-hour video series where I just get into some of the things that have been on my chest for years, where my business partners would say, "Oh, don't talk about that." You can't talk about anything. See, if I say anything of those certain key words, I will lose, measure with the algorithms. They're like, "Oh, we don't want this subject." You don't teach people. You can't. The healing. They don't want anyone healing except medical doctors. And that's what the CEOs at YouTube and Google said. No more health information, or the health information algorithms are going to be suppressed except by these medical doctors. Well, most of us know that the medical doctors have been trained by the pharmaceutical companies. So they don't really know how to heal. They know how to suppress your symptoms and cut out your gallbladder and your thyroid. They know how to diagnose where the obstructions are, but they don't know how to naturally support you while your body and divine consciousness eliminates those obstructions. So it's been a lot more suppression. And honestly, I know that I'm not a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nut. This is just the way it is. But a lot of people aren't as aware, awake, astute. I'm just from way back. The teachers tried to control me. The pastor tried to control me. Everyone tried to control my mind from the very beginning. Some of the subtle conditioning came in from the Saturday morning cartoons and things like that. But as I matured, I'm programming myself now. I go and I program myself with hours of the same material over and over and over again. And that's what I recommend for you too with these videos. This is just Dan McDonald's level of consciousness. It's a decent level of consciousness. There are great masters that far go beyond this. But I think that I am helpful in this world. And I'm just praying to be used. Most High, use this body, use this heart, use this mind. And I really mean that, to get the ego out of the way, which has been huge, and I'll admit it, since the very beginning. That's what fueled me in the beginning. So my fuel is changing. It's like, I am somebody, they love me. Of course, then once you get a little bit of fame, then that's when the haters come out, and you start shining that light. And the light is growing in Dan because he wants it to. He's praying. Show me where I err. Settle the mud. Clear away the debris so that your light can shine through and I can be a blessing to this planet and people and my friends and my family and my viewers. So, that's all I care for, is just, please, Most High, use Dan McDonald for your, not my blessing, but yours. And then I make the little program and I put it up for $29, which for me, that's practically giving it away. But that's okay, we work in numbers here, and many of you have purchased and already sent great feedback. And like I said, for those of you that hadn't heard about it, it's a 3-hour long video to just get this stuff off my chest. I didn't get it all off my chest. I have probably about another 25 hours worth of stuff I'd like to say, details and stuff about how you can heal yourself from all the sinister stuff going on in our society, which has now become normalized. Sickness is now normalized. And people are like, the world's not dying. It's like 54% of American children have a chronic disease. 60% of all species are now completely extinct. Okay? So, in one sense, you know, the world is dying. The lions, I mean, they're just lion hunting. And they're less and less. Pretty soon, there's not going to be any lions left because these guys want to put a big mane on their wall. You know, I mean, I love the animals. I love lions and I love elephants and all the African animals and all these animals, these goddamn roosters and these pigs running through the woods at 3 a.m. or whatever, just crashing. Amazing. Heard an avocado drop this morning at 1 a.m. I've been listening to this tree out here, and I'm looking at, there's like 4 avocados, because some years there's like 500 avocados, and other years there'll only be like 3 or 4 when the tree goes through that regeneration phase. The avocados go 1 year of massive and 1 year of recuperation, so they produce very few. Well, this tree out here has very few, but they are huge butterballs, and I heard one of them drop, so I got to go outside because the light's starting to come out.